Welcome to Serious Social. I'm Belle Lawrence, and today we're talking all about content. If you've been keeping up with our series, you'll have heard CJ recently debunking some myths in an episode, one of which we hear all too often, and that is we don't have enough content or the right content for social media. To be fair, if a business hasn't focused resource on their social media marketing, either by not having enough people or the right people in roles, it can be really challenging. In fact, roles in social media these days encompass not just posting on social, but skills in copywriting, visual branding, strategy, crisis and customer service, paid ad campaigns, tracking and analytics. The list goes on and on. So when it comes to what is usually the first step in many journeys to producing and posting social content, the planning, where do you start and what do you include? I'm bringing you a bit of a list so you can explore some ideas, so take some notes. Firstly, it ain't just about the hashtags. Now, there's certainly a place in social media content planning for utilising trending hashtags or planned interest days, but the planner who relies too heavily on hashtag hug a shed day is a little bit of a lazy planner. Don't rule them out totally, of course, but there must be some rationale behind using them. On the 17th of July, it is World Emoji Day, and most users on social recognise and enjoy an emoji, so if your channel strategy includes entertaining your audience, you should be able to come up with something cute or fun, or maybe a quiz for engagement, for example. Great. But if you're a tech brand and you're on social to inform your audience about innovative products, steer clear. And while I'm at it, please stop using irrelevant hashtags in posts just to get reach. Leave that for the spammers. Success on social isn't about the comments and likes you get from bots based somewhere random around the world. It needs to be meaningful. Now, I mentioned strategy, and that's where really you should start. Why are you on social? What does your audience need from you? And how are you measuring that success? It'll be different for each brand and industry sector. So we know that senior C-suite audiences in the B2B space are watchers, but not engagers. So don't measure on engagement, ensure you're clocking that video watch time. We recently ran a Facebook Instant Experience targeting the tech C-suite, which had an average watch time of over 11 minutes. Because the video segments we included were strong and engaging, answering key questions for this audience. But on the B2B side, we track engagement rate on Instagram for an FMCG brand, and our recent data shows we're at 8.5% last month compared to 3.5% they were achieving when we first started working with them earlier this year. Your strategic goals should sit at the top of your content planning filter. You don't always need to start there with content planning, but once you come up with an idea, you can really check it against those goals. Now, here are some ideas you can look into for content and planning. First, stories. Every organisation has stories and you can tell them. Sometimes it takes some work to find and develop them. You can look at customer stories. Don't call them case studies in your social post. Boring. You can look at staff stories, the business history, why you're based in the town you're based in and what makes that town special. Giving backstories like charity and CSR activities, because these stories are effectively evergreen content and give your brand a personality, solidify the reasons that someone might want to work with you or buy from you. Secondly, curating content is cool too. Truly, the mantra of sharing is caring applies to social. It's always been the case that content that helps your audience in some way works well. If you value their time, your content needs to show that and give them something in return. How do you determine whether or not you should share something which you don't own? Research. If you understand what your audience want or need, you can bookmark industry publications, review competitors, or use a tool like Feedly to draw lots of content together into one place. You'll need to decide then what you or your business believes is relevant or offer comment on the piece in order to keep your personality. So you could reach out to your thought leaders for comment or tag them in the post if you think they'd be up for replying. Third, and along the same lines, the research you do will give you ideas. If there's a hot topic which keeps cropping up, or your thought leaders have a particularly strong standpoint on something, then you can develop that into a bigger piece of content. Okay, quick fire round for you. Here's a rundown of some other social content ideas that you could use. Run a poll, ask a question, offer top tips, answer an FAQ, give a shout out to a partner, a colleague, a client, do a spotlight on a product or service, share some behind the scenes or did you know content, create a list of interesting blogs or podcasts for your industry, offer a white paper or research piece, and maybe even reshare older evergreen content with an "in case you missed it" or ICYMI tag on. Lastly, but by no means least, sweat the assets. It seems simple, but actually if you start your content planning with some thought into how you'll present it to the world, and by that I mean what format, will it be a video or image, etc., then it makes things far easier once the piece has been written or produced. So written a blog, you should be able to shatter that into several social posts, calling out key points. And while you're at it, can you make them sound bites using audio tweets? Should it be recorded as a video like this? And while you're at it, should you bring a thought leader into the video and interview them? Have you considered that a video recording could be sliced into quick 15-second vertical segments for story formats? Often, a lot of time is to put into the creation of that first piece of content, like hero content, and it's shared once and then forever consigned to the depths of your website. What a shame, right? Visual content as well will also work better on social. So if you do need to bring in content from your organisation which hasn't been created social first, then a key consideration will be how to make it visual and really work for you in your social feed. If all of this is more than you can manage in your role, you might need to look for external help like an agency. Great content planning isn't about finding a trending hashtag. It's way more than that. Thank you for tuning in to this episode. We will be back with more best practice and tips very soon. And don't forget, you can catch up on all our Serious Social episodes on YouTube, Facebook, or as a podcast.